We are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. We're a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is that amazing designers would find great players who love their games, and that amazing players can find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways. One of the main ways we do that is sitting down and playing games with the creator of that game. Today, we are playing Kennels of Karnage, which is a Borg third-party supplement, and we've got Stein with us, who is going to be joining us as a player today. Stein, tell people who you are, what you do, and tell us a little bit about Kennels of Karnage.
I'm Stein, and I'm from Trondheim, Norway, and it's a small town in Norway. Kennels of Karnage was kind of created as a kind of project for me to see if I could really write a story like this. And the theme about dogs is like everybody loves dogs and saving dogs. So and I've been watching a lot of documentaries lately on Netflix, you know, that Seaspiracy and everything. So I want to do something for the animals.
Awesome.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Love it. Also, if you'll point right down below your face, there is a link right below Danielle that will take you right to the Kickstarter campaign. Also, it should be in the description if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. Also, I will drop it in the chat here on Twitch shortly as well to take you right there. Let's meet some of our other players. Since I already mentioned Danielle, why don't we start with you? Tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online.
Hi, I am Danielle, and I am a RPG enthusiast person who enjoys playing games. Yeah, what I do right now is I'm working on a teaching certificate, and I decorate cakes as my job. And then when I'm not doing that, I am usually online playing games with people. And you can find me at Built a House on Twitter. That's just a play on my last name. I do not actually build houses.
Yeah.
And I never had a family dog because my mom was allergic, but had a lot of gerbils and rabbits and things like that. But I have loved all the dogs that I have met. So
there we go.
All right.
One day you'll be able to have a dog, maybe. Let's talk to some of our other players. Let's meet Alex. Alex, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online.
Sure. Hi, my name is Alex Kingsley. I'm a writer, comedian, game designer, all those fun things. I work at a production company called Strong Branch Productions. We do games and podcasts, and we have a sci-fi comedy called The Stench of Adventure, and you can check it out. It's a lot of fun. And you can find me on Itch, TikTok, Twitter, Tumblr, wherever at AlexyQuest. That's like Galaxy Quest, the movie, but it's my name. And as far as dogs go, I always wanted a dog ever since I was a little kid. In fact, my first ever hyperfixation was Clifford the big red dog. And according to my parents, I would go around telling people that I was Clifford. It was like an identity thing. But I never got that dog. I never got a dog. So this will be big wish fulfillment happening right here.
And you never turned into a giant red beast.
And I know, well, as far as you know.
As far as I know. I guess this was me probing for that information right now. And so...
It's a little bit of a Hannah Montana situation. By day, Alex. By night, who's to say?
A giant red dog, but not Clifford.
No, it's like a hellhound.
That's right. Lastly, the individual who's become our Morkborg GM of choice here on the channel, we've got Sean F. Smith. Sean, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online.
Yeah, so as no doubt you've seen by now, my name is Sean Smith. I'm a writer, a magician, a games designer, all of these things, and particularly happy to be repeatedly here to be gross on the internet, which is particularly wonderful. I'm not a dog person. I have nothing against dogs, but cats are superior in every way, and that's the theme that I shall be bringing to today's Kennels of Carnage.
I've entirely rewritten this adventure to be cat centric, and I hope everyone is here for it. That's awesome. I didn't share my own dog experiences. I did share with these folks right beforehand. I have to take my dog to a semi-emergency vet thing this afternoon, mostly emergency in the eyes of some of the humans who love him. I don't actually think that he is in that much danger. He has injured his paws. and he needs to go see the doctor to make sure they are not tremendously injured. So toss some love up for Zosimus, the Chihuahua something mix, because they have to go in and visit the vet, and they don't like that. And so, but we're gonna go do that this afternoon. And so I'll be thinking about that the entire time we're playing. I grew up with outside dogs only. It's weird for me for dogs to live inside the house. But I have a dog who lives inside my house also too, and it typically reaffirms my belief that dogs that I love are outside animals and are created to be outside and should be outside, to run free in the glory of the world. But I also grew up in the country, and so. With that said, we're gonna play some Mork. Mork is a kind of grim, dark metal setting, minimalist rules. It's created by Johan Nohr, who is absolutely phenomenal. We played a lot here on the channel. We will have some caution warnings in just a second, but if dark depictions of the ending of the world and kind of mildly gross things or tremendously gross things bum you out, not a stream for you. But we use lines, veils, and the X card is safety tools always here on the channel. So lines are things that may happen in the world of our game, but don't happen in our game. Our game doesn't touch on them. We don't talk about them. They don't come up. Subject matter veils are things that may come up, but we handle them in a specific way, or we go slowly through them. And then the X card is the ability for anybody at any time to say or type or message Sean an X to let them know that the whatever subject matter we're currently on is not good for them, and we'll identify what the issue is. It could just be confusion, it could be an objection to the material, and we'll move forward in a different way. No explanation is required, but a couple questions may get asked to clarify what the issue is if for some reason it is unclear. We also have a general open door policy, which means if you see one of our players get up and walk away, probably just means they had to go to the restroom or grab a new drink, and that's okay because they're real people who have real human needs. And so with all that said, we have a strong line against sexual violence here on the channel, but everything else we like to navigate and play. Does anybody have any lines or veils they want to add? And then maybe Sean, before we do that, while everybody's thinking about it, maybe you could give everybody kind of some caution warnings about what we're going to experience.
Yeah, so today's adventure, Kennels of Karnage, as its name may suggest, involves both dogs, specifically kennels, so dogs being kept in a place, and carnage. So although we're not going to have any on-screen animal abuse, if the results of animals having lived in unfortunate environments is going to be upsetting, again, just be aware of that. This is a game where no one is really the good guys, but definitely this is, we are the good guys in this situation here, in the fact that we are very anti-animal abuse. Also as people, I think we discussed earlier, none of us are pro-animal abuse. But definitely be conscious of that. And also, Borg is quite a brutal game. It can be quite damaging, and I have a tendency to lean into fairly graphic descriptions. So if you are unsettled by joints, for instance, or by the sounds of tearing flesh, again, be viewer discretion advised, is the euphemistic way of saying. In terms of lines and veils myself, I have nothing further. Just to clarify with the animal abuse elements, that'll be kind of veiled over in a sense, so we're not going to zoom in on it. But other than that, there is nothing that I'm wanting to add.
Cool. Alex, Danielle, Stein.
I only I understand the graphic, violence, etc. Maybe no specific eyeball stuff, if that's a particular thing. That's my only. Otherwise, chill.
Yeah, chill.
My only thing that I always like to put a veil on is any kind of explicit sexual content. I highly doubt that's going to be. I really think we're focusing on the dogs here, so I don't think that's going to be a thing. As far as the sound of tearing flesh, I love it. I love tearing flesh, so I'm good.
I also love that Sean just makes the sound of tearing flesh, doesn't describe it, just makes it. And it's so impressive every single time.
You get some full.
Well, with that said, I'm going to hand things over to Sean. Sean, take us into Mork however you want to.
Yeah, so the world is ending. It's been ending for some time. No one has seen the sun for years, decades potentially, and everyone has almost like accepted that and is just like stepping on, drifting towards the final days, taking the best things they can out with it. We've got quite a small island, loads of various like vile, decrepit places, with people making the most and doing what they can in different situations. But yeah, let's find out who we're meeting today. So let's start off. Stein, who is going to be well aware of the content of this, so I'm probably going to be meanest towards. So we'll start off. Stein, who are you today? What's your character's story?
My name is Thorn, and I come from the gutter.
Mhm.
I'm a real dirty, nasty fellow. Like, even death has something against me. I have an ability that's called dodging death. I'm so disgusting that I have a 50% chance to come back to life. So that kind of says something about me, I guess. He has a femur. He thinks it's his mother's femur that he uses as a weapon. And he has a throat slime in his back throat, so he starts to puke a bit, like gags a bit when he speaks. It doesn't need to be anything repulsive he sees; it's just naturally gagging.
There's just a lot there. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a lot there.
Excellent. Danielle, who are you?
I am. See, I'm talking about it now. I'm like, I'm playing Terras, who is, I think, the sibling of Thorn. We come from the same gutter. He's got one femur, I've got the other one. He's real gross, but like you got to stick by him. Like that's probably one of the few people who still like stuck together, and I've had to be the more clever one, like still nasty, but I have the ability to be stealthy and like to hit with surprise against things. So while people are distracted by the spectacle that Thorn can have, I'm usually back there picking their pocket or something like that to kind of survive, or clonking them over the head with the other femur. So yeah, gutter life is hard.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Fantastic. Next up, Tony, who are you today?
So I am, and I actually, Danielle, what was your character's name again? I'm sorry.
Oh, Terras, Theras. Thorn and Terras. I assume we might be twins.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
The Hueys came out and grabbed your mother's femurs right away, and so I'm playing Svind. So things are going well for me as a prince of Galgenbeck until Athena demanded a gift of noble blood, and I refused, and so now cast out and cast down. I find myself amongst the rabble. I do. I am fairly resplendent in my garb. However, I do have a hand that is missing that's been replaced with a rusting hook, and I do pick my now bleeding nose with it on a fairly regular basis. I am followed around by the only person who stuck with me through thick and thin. That's Hamfund the Squire, who carries the cursed sword of Eureka that I can draw when necessary, and I carry with me my Horn of the Schwessling Lords. Yeah.
Excellent stuff.
Normal stuff.
No,
yeah.
Just a regular broken.
Yeah.
So we have two who were born in the gutter and one who has since found his way there.
That's right.
Excellent stuff. Alex, who are you today?
Well, speaking of normal stuff, I am Bunter. That's B-U with an umlaut. NTER. I don't know how umlauts work. I'm just guessing here. And I was once part of a cult that was since massacred. I do not get any information on my character sheet about what that cult was. It only has the phrase "wrong Jesus." So I'm going to go with this. There was a guy in our cult who was coincidentally also named Jesus, and we worshipped him. So we're really into this Jesus, Jesus 2. But then Jesus 2 also got crucified. He really wasn't happy about it. I really wasn't happy about it. Everyone got massacred. I'm the only one who survived. And, you know, Boonder's pretty pissed about it. And he also has 4 monkeys that just follow him around.
Was the cult you wrong Jesus and these 4 monkeys? Was that it?
What? Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah, let's go with that. The cult was massacred, and by that I mean wrong Jesus was killed, and now I'm just furious. And so are my 4 monkeys.
Excellent news. So as you can tell, if no one here has had any prior experience of Borg, it's a very normal role-playing game with a lot of straightforward, simple, classic character classes. So yeah, we will start basically in like the back kitchen of a pub in Galgenbeck. Galgenbeck is a huge city that's kind of in the same way that I live in London, and much of what makes London weird is that it's essentially 6 cities that have just kept existing at the same time and just almost like growing up over the top of each other. Galgenbeck's kind of the same, just a little bit grosser, not quite so many like underground sewers, a lot more kind of like open murder on the streets, a little bit grim. And we're currently out the back of a pub called the Mended Bucket. And you're sat there and you've been able to like scrape together some pennies to be able to afford some like very strong drink. That's probably where most of your calories are coming from today, and some very thin gruel, which invariably the more that Thorn kind of like sips from this thing, the invariably the thicker and more nutritious it's getting. And you're sat there like you all know each other. You've just completed like a relatively effective way of kind of like gathering together some cash, the typical rats in the basement thing, where you went down, had to clear out a load of little rats there. And yeah, what's it look like? Because you're all kind of like worn out as all hell. I've scraped together like just enough cash to be able to kind of afford some things that are going to keep you like physically awake. And yeah, what are you doing?
I really wanted to milk those rats. I don't know why we killed them. We could have started a whole new cottage industry raising those things rather than just killing them. I don't get it. I don't get why people are so anti-rat.
I'm telling you, I've had rat milk. I'm not a fan. I don't like it. I don't think it's marketable. I just don't think it's marketable.
Have you tried the rat cheese? That's where it's, I mean, because really, if you think about it, rats love cheese, and so rat milk makes the best cheese.
Yeah, you got a point there. A good point there.
All right. Listen, next time we run into some rats, we will try the rat cheese. And by the way, he's reclining. He's like super lazy. He's reclining, and anytime he wants to drink or eat, he goes, hold on, I have to go to my name sheet. He goes, Tonkus! And then a little monkey hand goes up and pours his drink into his mouth. And when he wants to eat, he goes, Bonkus! And then a little monkey hand pours a little food into his mouth.
Terrace is just kind of like guarding her food and like making sure that Thorn like has stuff in his bowl too. And it's like, I keep telling you, I don't know why you're focused on the rats when those things would be a much better business. Can't they do? Is that the only thing that they can do? Why?
Are you talking about my boys? You're talking about the boys?
They're trained. They could do a show.
They're not trained. They're just loyal. Okay. They're just my friends. We just have a connection you could never understand.
I've tried to milk them like 4 times. It has not gone well yet.
Oh my God.
I guess when I say 4, I mean each of them one time.
Oh my Jesus too.
But they're all
tried to roll
males.
by monkeys.
Yeah.
And almost like the realization of this, the same point that like an arrow shaft just like thuds into Sven's chest. Sven, could you take 4 points? What 4 points? D4 points of damage.
Let's see.
So give me a
I
roll.
don't know. Sven may be short for this game.
Sven just dies on the spot.
Oh, I've got D4s. Yes, I can. I can take. I can take. Oh, actually, you know what? Even better. Because I've got armor. And so hold on. I absorb. An arrow thunks into my armor, but not my body. I took 1 damage and I absorbed 1 damage.
Excellent. So yeah, the way that armor works in this, if you have any, is after you've taken a hit, your armor will then soak a certain amount. So if you've got really good armor, you might soak up to like D6 points of damage. But also you might just roll a 1 on that, which is probably one of my favorite armor rules in almost any game at the moment, which is nice. So yeah, so this thing, like, initially Hamfin kind of like responds as like, my liege, and then sees that actually it's mostly just like with the energy of the actual like bow itself that's kind of like keeled over, and you can see twirled around the actual shaft of the arrow is a sign that says, come to Galgenbeck quickly, and then that bit's been crossed out, and it says, the Grand Duke demands your audience. Now, you had dealings with the Grand Duke in the past. You don't particularly like him. He's kind of like chief bureaucrat in a way. He's not officially the mayor, but he very much like takes the perspective of this. What would you what was your overriding memory of the Grand Duke, whose name is Diath, but of course he always doesn't put the actual apostrophe in, so it looks like it's just spelled death.
I remember he wouldn't let me milk his horses, and it pissed me off.
Noticing a theme here.
I apparently hit on one early, and so I'm just gonna go with what can I milk in this adventure.
Oh wow!
Was that your aristocratic hobby? You were just really into animal husbandry and stuff.
Yeah, I called it animal husbandry, but it was really just milking. Like I'm enthralled by the idea that one creature can make a substance that can help sustain another creature that isn't just a meat or blood or lethal. Like, I feel
when
like
you say it like that, it is kind of enthralling.
right, and so
I'm kind of into milking now.
And they can turn like plant matter into a different type of biosubstance that has far more enriched protein in it. And a better nutritional yield than what they initially take in to build that substance out of. It's just kind of mind blowing.
You have a start of a game here.
Yeah.
We've probably heard this speech like the only time we could afford to get very drunk one night. Like you're like, this is alcohol. This is not where it's at. And then we heard all of this.
I feel like there's a familiar start to the speech that's like, I just think it's amazing that a living being, and then we all have to go, no.
Especially considering it's invariable. Like this is the second time that you all have been together. And somehow, despite that, like at least 3 or 4 times in the first film, there was just like so many references of that. But yeah, so we then smash cut forwards, and you are in the thoroughly opulent chambers of the Grand Duke Diath of Galgenbeck. It's essentially a repurposed library, but has been like strung up to look almost like the way in which a church might do. A load of the desks and the tables sort of been like moved across to the side. They've then been like screwed back down onto the floor in such a way that they can't easily be reassembled. And at the far end, literally stood on top of like 2 bookshelves, with just down at the base of them like a very, very empty, incredibly dented, very, very like fur matted, like large cushion, a sort of like reddy brownish color, with nothing on it, just a clear dent where there is currently no dog. And Diath is sat there on his like velvet throne, and he's sat like a prince. So he's very much like leaning forwards, like really, really engaged in this point here. Svend, perhaps you might be able to take back your personage within this city, especially with your new followers. How many? Goodness. And to think that you were considered ill enough beforehand, and these are the people that you're with now.
Hello.
I mean, some people get the importance of milk as a stable cornerstone of any society. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, whoa. That is not what brought us together. We're no milk right now.
Right, not right now. But once I'm back in power, the milk will flow freely through the streets.
So
I happen to
clearly-
be. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I was just like,
Oh.
someone had to keep him alive in the gutter. He's clearly not fit for it.
I had hoped he would not quite make it, but it seems there is some solid blood in you. It's your enjoyment of the congealed things. You may see my dog is not there. Murder is gone. He has been stolen, I'm sure of it. In fact, several dogs have gone missing in the last few weeks. I will pay. I will give you 200 shillings, say.
What? 200?
200 shillings for the dog if you find me murder. And for every other dog you bring back as well, you will get
Listen.
another 100.
Whoa.
There's only one kind of payment I care about, and he's gonna pull out his crucifix and say, "Do you know what this is?"
It's an icon of a petty saint or something, I don't know.
Petty saint? This is the icon of Jesus too. And me and my brethren, he gestures at the monkeys who have been carrying him this whole time. They carried him into the building. Are followers of Jesus too, and the only currency we care about is followers. So if you will pledge your faith to Jesus too, then I'm in. And so are Kronkus, Monkus, Tonkus, and Bonkus.
Will you give me, let's say this is as an act of persuasion, just to be standing out in an enormous room, like easily 20 times the size of your previous chapel, demanding that probably the single most powerful person you've met in a long time agrees with you. So will you give me a presence check against the 12? So the way this works, everyone has a number of 4 stats, which quite often are less than nil. And typically you'll roll a d20, add one of those stats, and usually aim to hit about 12, although it can go down as low as 6, or it could go up as high as 18. 6 being something so easy that people laugh at you if you fail. And the mathematicians amongst you will notice that's a 25% of being laughed at.
All right, that is a 2.
So there's something in your presentation that falters slightly. He still accepts this, and he's probably going to admit to giving you what it is that you want. Higgy himself might not do this, but he will at least spread your doctrines. But what is it about how, when you're presenting, something falters as you're presenting? What's that look like?
I would say, what is it? It's that Tonkus has taken the beer that I was drinking or whatever alcohol it was that we were drinking in the bar, and is now kind of drunk. So that's the monkey that was carrying one of my legs. So as I'm trying to give this impassioned speech and holding this crucifix, it's kind of will you please accept Jesus, like that? And I just keep falling over because there's a drunk monkey carrying me.
Very well, we will dedicate some advance to this, but it is not under my name. I will not have those curs of the chapel of Necrobel coming and finding this out. No. We know where the
take
dogs
it.
are.
He'll be your secret follower. I'll be your follower. Just don't tell anyone.
Don't tell your mum. So the dogs are being kept in a dungeon underground, just probably about like a day's ride out of the city itself, and they are being like held over by some like goat-headed creature who is called Gottfried the Houndmaster. And as far as the information can be has been discovered over the last month or so, he's like gone around stealing dogs, training them, and basically selling them on as war dogs for whoever will pay the highest. War's kind of a losing market at the moment. There's not much. There's like increasingly small parts of the world to carve up, but definitely it's the sort of. I mean, we've seen how people are obsessed with animal products today, so it's not that much of a far reach to spot that people might be obsessed with wars as well. So Gottfried's hole over there, the aforementioned Kennels of Karnage, isn't too far away. It's been spotted by the Duke's scouts. They went inside about a week ago and have never come back. And that's where you've been sent to go. So what's that look like as you as the next scene that we see essentially is the travel montage. So going from within the city across, like, if you imagine, and it's been very, very hot here in London for the last week or so, and so most of the grass around is just yellow. It's like brittle as anything, and the what remains of actually the grass that you're then like moving across to be able to get to this place is just dead and nonsense, and every now and then you see like tufts of like twisted thistles and the like. But yeah, what does it look like as you approach this dungeon?
So we see it scrolls down from like Sven like sitting atop a mount with like a bridle in their hand, like kind of like shifting back and forth, and then like shifting back and forth a whole lot more as we pan down, and we just see that he's sitting on Hamfun's shoulders as he like walks towards this place, and then I've been riding my squire the entire way.
This time Bunter is actually walking, but all four monkeys are fanning him as he goes, with little fans made from the dead grass that they pulled from the ground.
This is probably the first time that like both Thorn and is it Theris? Is that who you're saying?
Yeah.
Theris, yeah. Have actually left the city, and so like it's so different to have gone from a place where you're just like constantly almost like boxed in by all these like people and buildings and noise to suddenly just this like huge empty flatness. And either like what's going through your minds, or is there something we can see about how it is that you're moving that just shows how you're like experiencing that contrast?
Terrace, are we going to fall up there?
No worries, Thorn. If anything tries it, I got my eye on him. And she's just like scanning the up and around, and is like huddled close. It's like, you okay? You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this is so shiny. The light is so bright. I don't like it.
Me neither.
Don't eat the grass. It's probably poisonous.
Oh.
Yeah. I think we're probably like huddled up close to like keep bumping into the monkeys because we don't like fanning out at all.
I think every time you bump into a monkey, the monkey turns to you and goes And then Boonter goes and down Tonkus, down.
Yeah, because I keep
Sorry,
like
Tonkus is the wild one.
I keep having like I have a cleaver out as well besides the femur, and I keep being like, "You want to go? You want to go, monkey?"
I'm like, no more monkey fights. We've had this discussion, Darius. You can't fight the monkeys.
They keep trying it. They keep trying it.
They're monkeys. They're not trying anything except to be loyal to Jesus too.
So not too long after you've kind of like moved across in your time, it's getting relatively late now, and again I'd say like no one's seen the sun in ages, but despite the fact that like this huge like dark roiling clouds overhead, it's definitely feeling like the long end of a day at the point where you come up to this cave entrance, and it's almost like a sort of like a barrow grave where you've kind of got this like clearly man-made hill, with a couple of like almost like gunnels running into it that then like pitch down ever so slightly so that you can like enter into this space. And what you can see is, as you get close to this, is although the walls are mostly just like almost like things like cob, so actually it's like you've just got like this thick mud kind of like shot through with like grass stalks and so on that sort of like dried off, but the floor is just covered in like really thin bits of metal with sort of like almost like dog's tooth corrugation that you've sort of got on the floor. So it's like heavily patterned, and it's just, I mean, it's easy to wash down, that's one thing, but despite that, it's still kind of like right in the sides and the corners of it, just like clogged up. All of this, like just like tufts of hair. You can see that there's like various worms that almost like been like trodden and then just like squished across the floor at various points, and it's just like quite a grimy looking place. It's certainly not the worst of a place you've looked at. Hell, I mean, you've probably eaten in places that are like less gross than this, but it's still not very inviting. And the typical question as it comes to any major dungeon exploration thing is, what's your standard pattern of moving? Like what's your marching order? Who's at the front? Who's at the back? This thing is kind of like wide enough that you could fairly comfortably walk two abreast. It's almost like hotel corridor width, but the hotel would clearly be shut down. But that sort of size.
That's not up to code.
I mean, I definitely see Svind as a second back type of individual.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm at least in the rear. I don't know if Thorn is also back there or if he wants to charge out front.
Yeah, he is curious, so he's at the front.
I think Boonter is probably with Thorn at the front because he feels protected by the grace of Jesus too, and also 4 monkeys.
Definitely helps. And yeah, as you like start to head down into this space, the walls almost like arch up in such a way that they're like naturally kind of like coming to a tipping point, and it's a fairly irregular line across the top. So wherever clearly it's most effective, it's like you probably wouldn't want to jab it with a sword, because if you did that, then I mean, you just seen just how much clearly like man-made dirt is immediately above your heads. But the whole thing looks pretty stable, but it just feels like cloying and really quite close. And again, your feet don't quite echo on the floor because it's like weirdly springy in various different places as well. But for the most part, you're just like making your way along in this. You can kind of see, the other question is like, what are we doing for light? There's some ambient light. No one knows why. If you listen to the director's commentary, you might find out why there's ambient light here. The director's commentary says, I can't be bothered for people to lose one hand to carry a torch. But yeah, so you can see that there's this like vast corridor that's running ahead of you, and a relatively short way up on the right hand side, there is like almost like an archway that opens off and goes to the right, and through that you can kind of hear the sound of it almost sounds like Thorn again. There's this like really like snotty snoring sound. Yeah, what do?
Look, just check to make sure Thorn is still there.
Yeah, the queen would be like, Dorg, stop doing that. You're getting really loud.
What?
Oh, is that not you?
No.
Oh, what is that?
I don't know. I'll check it out.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, snore.
Are
Snore.
you,
draws
is Dorn
close to
a
snore.
child? How old is Dorn?
Thorn is 42.
Okay. So
I
Yeah,
was imagining.
I would love for, even though y'all are twins, I would love for Theris to be a wildly different age. I think that would
Yeah,
be good.
it
That would
is.
be good energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, then Theris is like 14 and like seems to be 14. And there's just this very surly child telling this tall man what to do.
excellent stuff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so this thorn kind of like creeps forwards. There's like quite an open room from beyond. It's relatively like long and thin, almost like just like the space that you might have under like an archway or something. And there's like just filth everywhere. The whole kind of thing is like clearly they've like moved a load of like additional straw into here. You can see there's like bits of sawdust and stuff just like kind of thrown down on the floor as well. There's definitely like a really stronger scent over in one corner of the room. And over there you can see that there's like, well, it's definitely less dry at that point at the moment. And there are 4 beds, just kind of like crudely made mostly. You've just kind of got like a couple of like wooden pallets covered over with just like loads and loads and loads of furs and blankets and things. There's one of them that looks like weirdly puffy, like it's almost like it's still got like the entirety of a sheep there, in such a way that the all of the wool on it is just like thoroughly matted. You can see like, so as you walk into it at this point here, you've just got this like long thin room. At one end of it there seems to be another arch that leads out to either another room or another corridor, it's hard to tell. Up near that end there's a couple of bookshelves. But the place where the sound is coming from is like on the 2 of the beds. You've just got these I mean, the word men is potentially a bit of a stretch, but they are like there's a lot of hair, mostly on the eyebrows that you can kind of like see just like bushing off at this point here. You can see the various points where like the skin has been scarred. There's like caked on paint and such along way, and just like a load of almost like, if you imagine the sort of like cloth wrappings that you'd get on like an Egyptian mummy, that sort of level of just like things have just been like wrapped around so that people have kind of like covered up, potentially, or like offer a tiny little bit of actual like comfort and potentially even some like armor in a sense. But they are just like lying on the bed and you can just hear them like snoring, and one of them generally just have like a big like spit bubble just like bawling in his nose. What is Thorn doing?
Thorn is he runs back to the other guys and tells them what they've seen.
So are we talking like nice furs?
Yeah, really nice.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, check it out.
Expensive. I'm sure of it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we could do with some renovation to the cathedral.
Are we getting a Cruella de Vil vibe from these furbs?
A little bit.
Yeah.
There's there definitely seems to be a collection of like what is there and what is in use.
And let me clarify, Cruella de Vil before the recent retconning of Disney to try to rehabilitate the character.
Yeah. Are we getting a dogs killed these guys' mother vibe?
No, but you do think they might do elaborate things with chrysalises and the like. So that's the kind of vibe we've got here.
So I want to. We've got a couple choices here. We can either ignore the fact that these guys exist, which seems like a bad choice. We can just kill them, which seems like, in all honesty, a fine choice. Or we can try to wake them up and talk to them, and then probably end up having to kill them anyways.
If we have
No,
to
you
kill
go.
them, I have a move where I can attack by surprise, or I can sneak past things. And so those are the options I'm invested in. Either sneaking, because I think Terrace would be like, was there a door? Was there a way out of the room if we just walk by them? I guess that is it.
It was. Yeah.
Because the other option is that you could continue along the path that you're currently on. So like the corridor leads right ahead, and there's just this one entrance off to the right.
That feels like a trap.
I feel like if we leave these guys, they're gonna show up later. We're gonna say, should have killed you. Tony, I keep forgetting your character's name.
Sfind.
I have to write it down. I keep wanting to say Sven.
I mean, I would respond to it if you said it.
Sven. If I just go and then put some kind of sound afterward. Bunter looks at Sven and looks at them and says, "I know what you're thinking. Don't you try it. Don't do it."
Are we milking them?
No, we're not milking them.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I mean, I was thinking it. I didn't say it. I want to see if I can sneak up next to one of them while they're sleeping. I don't have any abilities for that. I just want to try to do it.
I mean, they are quite deeply sleeping. I'd say this is the sort of thing where, like, a child would laugh at you if you failed. So that'd be a difficulty 6. So this would be an agility test.
Children are already laughing.
Yeah.
I rolled a 1. Which means it's a 1 because I have a flat. But it's a 1.
Excellent. And yeah, so you kind of like, I think part of the problem is, and I hate to generalize on class, but the former ruling class certainly wouldn't consider that there might be things on the floor that they're not meant to step on. And so you do like walk across, and there's like essentially like just the remains of like a chicken carcass that clearly someone had been eating. I hadn't realized that quite when like putting your full weight down on it, it then just makes like quite like a horrid like cracking sound. There you go. That's the tearing flesh noise. And with that, both of these lads in the bed just kind of like immediately like just like sit bolt upright.
And I look at them straight in the eye and I go, "I'm sneaking."
Do you want to hear about milk?
You can see that they're more like, you've certainly seen this response before. It's possible that like Bunta would have done as well. It's that that indoctrination that comes with having been in a highly hierarchical situation. So it's the sort of like, it's the immediate response you get from the military, from very, very particular like house servants. It's like Hampton's reaction is like that sometimes.
Oh, these people are just waiting for me to tell them what to do. I got it. No problem.
Yeah. And they just kind of like sit up and look at each other and then at yourself, seeing that. Well, I'm assuming that the rest of you are kind of like at the archway looking in to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And they kind of like see you there and like slowly swing their legs off the side of the bed, but don't otherwise kind of get up and are just like looking at you and kind of like watching for you to make the first move.
Finally, I've been waiting forever.
I don't follow.
Well, I mean,
Turner, do you know this chap?
We've been
No,
waiting, and
not a
you've just
clue.
been sitting here, laying, sleeping. It's like this place isn't even prepared for us.
Are you here to sample the wares?
Yes, if things go well, we might relieve you of all of your wares.
Good. Gottfried will be happy with that. I thought you were still a few more days off yet. We thought that the envoy from Alliance would be maybe a week, maybe something from that.
Well,
You're not quite as
I made good
delicate
time.
as
My
I
steed
expected.
is very strong.
Not elegant. A booter is gonna come in carried by 4 monkeys. What is not elegant about this to you?
I suppose it's not really our place to say, sir.
He's gonna pick up one of the furs from the beds and drape it around himself and say, "This is mine now."
Very well, very well. And it's like it's still warm from when he was sleeping in it. It's kind of got like a little bit of drool.
Better. See, there are worse reasons it could have still been warm, and so
Yeah, that is the better reason.
well, if you could show us the way.
Well, do give them. We've just got to get dressed. We've got to make sure we're properly done. And obviously, they're still like clad in all of these, wrappings and so on. And you can see them like going to the end, and there's like lock boxes at the bottom of their bed, and they're taking it out, and they've essentially got like snippets of like spiked leather, like pauldrons that they're kind of like putting on and basically tying around something that almost looks functionally like a smallish corset sort of thing, and slapping on some like knee pads and like tying them up behind the legs. During that time, let me have a quick look. So during that time, they, if any of you were to like look at the bookshelves at the end, would any of you want to be doing that as you're waiting, going? Doo, doo, doo?
It's already there,
Yeah.
Thorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a wonderful book that you can see there. It's kind of like just, and there's not that many books on here in total. Like if you can see that there's just some like blocks of, almost just like blocks of leather and stuff that have just been like put in. But there is a book there which is entitled "How to Cook Your First Infant," which seems to be particularly dog-eared, and has a couple of like bookmarks shoved inside. And then Hooch turns around to you and it's like, "We're ready." And they're stood up, very much looking.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna pause real quick. Did you say Hooch? Because that's really good.
Yeah. There's 2 of them here. So
Is the other one named
Who's
Turner?
the other one? Turner.
it is. Original names, don't feel.
And as I've just been talking to them about milk this entire time, and they're like asking like a lot of questions about what type of milk they use in this facility.
I mean, their most genuine response of that is that it's like, well, that whilst they sometimes get some milk in for Gottfried, they are entirely against giving the dogs too much comforts, and it's like, nope, none of that. Barely water, maybe mixed in with a bit of oats.
Excellent. So, but what type of milk is Gottfried getting? Like, is it just normal cow milk? I mean, that's fine.
He's you've seen him, right? The vast head of a goat. He only has goat's milk. There are 4 left.
Excellent.
Only 4.
Wait, so the milk is sorry, I promised myself I wouldn't get into the milk thing, but now I'm getting milky. The milk is coming from him?
No, he chooses to have it. If he has it, he mixes it with blood. He has that as a cereal.
Okay. So just to clarify, this is not his milk.
No. I mean, it is. He owns it. He is the only one who
Okay.
drinks it. None of us are. I mean, maybe on a feast day we might be allowed, but
Okay, I see.
Well,
Just trying to clarify that with pointed looks at Sven. Just trying to clarify that Gottfried is not milkable.
That's not what he said. Is what my look back at you says. Like, that's not what he said. He said it wasn't his milk. This is all just exchanged in eyes back and forth, real quick.
Terrace is kind of leading up the rear as one eye on Thorn, who seems to be going through the bookshelf, which is a normal occurrence.
Yeah.
And she's like prepping. Like, I was ready to jump out and try and kill these guys while Svind was talking, but it seems like they're useful, but like the second they're not useful, she's ready to just leap at them. So she's just kind of like, they're talking about milk. All right, I'm just gonna like follow here and be as in the shadows as possible.
Yeah.
I pull out a little notebook and just write down goat milk with blood ?
I wanna ask these two real quick. So just like, how have you been feeling existentially?
We exist. Is that not enough?
Well, I'm just like, are you like in the market for a god, or not really at the moment? Now's not a good time.
I can't say that we've really thought that gods are needed in this forsaken place.
Oh,
Clearly, the gods left us a while ago, and
oh,
their spawn, the
Well,
basilisks.
you're partially right, because the last true god got crucified in front of me and 4 monkeys. But again, you know, if you're having any kind of crisis of faith, just like hit me up.
Very well.
Some good low key.
Here's my card, and he just hands some monkey fur.
These two eventually, after having like straightened up they're not quite uniforms because they're not like actually uniform, but they're definitely matching. And they lead you through the door at the end of the room, not the one you come in from the side. And immediately as that happens, you've then got like a corridor that runs left and right, and they turn you left. Walk up to, you can see like a little crossroads where, looking off down to the left, you can see the weird haze of the outside where you could previously see in, and there are some like steps that lead almost like up and over like a little bit of a hill, with some like hobbit doors essentially on either side of them as you go through. And like you go up and over, they lead you through this way here. Just before you're about to actually head down the actual steps, one of them is just like, wait, and then he's got a cleaver and presses the tip of the cleaver down into the floor and then pushes back the blade of it just so that it's kind of like trapped on the thing. It's like, go ahead, and pushes the rest of you away before then like slowly releasing it and moving himself onwards.
This is going much better than I would have expected.
And you can immediately, once you're down there, the path splits left, right again, and you're led up to the left where there's another archway on your right, but pretty much are led directly forwards towards where you can hear like the sounds of yelps, you can hear like the noise of whips, and then they Hooch kind of like announces with a into this like fairly large room at this point. It's probably about like the same sort of size as the place that you were in before, but just a little bit squarer. And in here, there are like a couple of like poles that sort of like connected directly up to like the apex points of a couple of vaulted parts of the ceiling. To each one of those poles, there's a dog that's kept on like quite a short chain. The dogs look very, very angry and very, very upset. And in here, there are also D6. Let's find out. There are also 6 additional marauders in here. And as these other two kind of like walk in, clearly leading a group, the other ones like stop what they've been doing, basically like ball up their tools of torture and kind of like go and awkwardly stand by the like all along the back wall, kind of looking at you there. And Hooch says, it's like, Cujo, here are some of our clients. Wait here while we go and get Gottfried. And he just kind of like looks at you, and he's just got this like slobber kind of like running down his eyes and also like seemingly out of his ear as well at the same sort of point. Got like a really like half of the like the caked on paint on his face just sort of like running down the front of his outfit, and just kind of like looking at you. He's like, ugh.
Sir, it
and
looks
yeah,
like
and
you're not getting enough vitamin D in your diet. There's two great sources for that. One is just a little bit of sunlight. The other one's milk.
and like Turner and Hooch, they head off back down the route that they've taken you. Take a couple more of the people with them that are in this room. They all sort of like take their toys with them. They're not toys. They are weapons of being mean. So they take their weapons of being mean with them, and you're kind of like the four of you and your various attendants, be they monkey or man, kind of like stood there in this room. And although Cujo's just got this like really like bad grin, there's one of them there is a like red-headed lad who just kind of sits there and he's just like he's kind of like trying to almost like smile at you, but it's almost like no one is actually like he's read about what a smile was maybe, rather than really having much experience with it, and it's all just kind of like standing there quite awkwardly. If this were a show and like the camera would like zoom in on your faces, what would we see over like a minute or so? Let's start with Svind. What's going on Svind's face here?
We like I think there's some sort of like light music playing over the background, and all we see is Sven's lips moving, and we just get the feeling that a lot of milk facts are coming out right now about how each of these gentlemen could really probably just use a nice refreshing glass of milk.
Excellent stuff. What about Bunter?
Oh my god, that's me. I was waiting for someone else to talk, and then I was going to my character. Yeah, so he's first just kind of like making eye contact with. Is it all six of them are still here, or did some of them go?
There's four of them left.
Four of them left. Okay, yeah. Kind of like making eye contact with all of them, like with the kind of like uneasy like customer service smile, a little like. And try to like, he's a leader of the people. He was a priest of a cult once, so he's kind of like, yeah, maybe I can stir up a little bit of unionize them. So he's kind of like, so what kind of benefits you get here? You get dental.
One of them again, like smile widens a bit, and you can see that there's maybe like 2 or 3 teeth left, and those teeth are very, very brown.
Okay, so no dental.
What's Theris's close-up show?
I think it's like the camera zooms in on where it thought Theris was, and there is nothing there, and it does like that little like, what? And it like looks over, and she's already like snuck behind like Svind, and or is like in the shadows, is like prepping to just like jump someone as soon as possible. But yeah, it's like zoom, wait, she's actually not there at all. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. And Thorn, what about yourself?
Thorn is like he's standing there scratching his head, and what about this weather? The sun is not coming back anytime soon, is it? A little awkwardly. And it starts to puke, and it drips down his chin, to wash it off, and doesn't licks his hands.
Okay. You can take the boy from the city, but not the city from the boy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's an optimal part for an intermission.
Awesome. We're going to take just a short 5-minute break here, and we are going to be right back. We are currently playing Kennels of Karnage. It's a third-party Mork Borg adventure. We are we have talked our way through a lot of horrible things, and I feel like there's still more horrible things that are about to happen. But we are going to take a 5-minute break, and we will be right back. And we are back here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. We are playing Kennels of Karnage, a third-party Mork Borg supplement, where we're going to try to save the dog of the Duke of Galgenbeck from this kennel, along with some other dogs. Just as a reminder, Mork Borg is a dark system. We have kind of a veil over the animal abuse that the bad guys are doing it, but they're very bad guys who are doing bad things to animals, and we're going to stop them for the dogs. And so,
Yeah, like John Wick.
We're John Wicking it up in here.
Yeah,
and some of us like milk, some of us like monkeys, some of us like monkeys' milk. It's all good.
yeah.
Some of us like the money. Some of us are in it for the money.
Oh,
Some of us are ready to kill.
Yeah.
Some of us want to get a little stabby.
So when we last left our heroes, they were stood fairly awkwardly in a room that they'd just been led to by two of Gottfried's marauders. So the almost like a private military company. That's sort of like they've all got the same sort of livery on, but they're clearly like a ragtag bunch of people, and they were led through to the room to basically see the wares under the mistaken impression that this group of people who have just turned up are in fact clients who are wanting to spend some money and buy some of these dogs. So they've now run off to fetch Gottfried, the like giant goat-headed man who like runs this entire thing. It's not an enormous room. It's kind of maybe about like 3 meters across, maybe about like 5 meters wide or something. And in the very like in the two centers of it, because you've got like two arched like vaulted ceilings, the very centers of which are held up by some quite thick poles, and to each pole is chained a dog, which does not look very happy, and is slavering. It's got like all manner of open wounds and the like. You can even see that that one of them is kind of like on its forepaw, one of the kind of like the actual like nail / talons, it's kind of not quite the right way around. And yeah, the two of them are there, and then just standing quite awkwardly, almost like not quite standing to attention, but definitely we're in front of the paying customers, don't show us up, are four of the marauders who are just kind of stood there. What happens next?
I didn't know there were doggos in the room until just now. I'm gonna GM permitting. Can I have my water skins be filled with milk instead?
I think it would be unreasonable for them not to be filled with milk. Yeah.
I assumed it wasn't. I assumed I had put in the work at this point in time, but I just want to make sure. I'm gonna get near one of the dogs, and I'm gonna not give them milk in my hand because that seems like a poor choice. I'm gonna pour a little milk out on the floor where it will go into the dog's area, but not put me at incredible risk for death.
Yeah, and as you're like, even as you approach, you can just like hear the really like guttural sound of them growling, and like they've like fully got their hackles raised, and you like pull a little bit of the milk out, and it just kind of like seeps towards them, and the dogs don't even like go down to touch it. You can see the fact that like the milk has almost like flowed up to the point where it's just like overlapping on terms of his actual his front paw, and they're like still looking at you until you sort of like move back, and then like very quickly it kind of like moves its like paw up to its mouth and just like licks the bit of milk that's kind of off of there.
I want to talk to the guys again. Can I talk to the guys again? I'm gonna say, hey, you all have been really great to us as guests. Anybody want to share a drink? I got some of the good stuff. I brought some of the. We're pretty high class people. I got some of the good stuff.
And so the one who's clearly like in charge, in the fact that he seems to have like slightly longer spikes on his pauldron, and he's actually got like a metal wire woven through on the handle of his whip. He's just kind of like the one like glaring at you, but one of the other ones there who's kind of got like everyone here has just got like properly like matted, greasy hair and just like really like thick eyebrows in a few places. And there's this one here which has got like weirdly, like very, very soft, almost like luscious looking locks. And it's just not very, very long. It's the sort of thing where if he tried to flick them, it wouldn't quite work. And he's like, sir, we're not allowed to drink on the job. Thank you for offering. It's very polite.
Oh, no one will know. No one will know. Just a little something. It's just a little something.
One of the other ones kind of like nudges him and is just like, Lassie, look, you can. We've got to accept gifts.
Yeah, it's a gift. It's a gift. Come on. And he's gonna hand out to all of them each just like a little shot glass of a red liquid. And then take out his own water skin and be like, hey, to business. And
Business.
to Jesus too.
Okay. And they go.
As they're knocking that back, is everybody paying attention to this? Have they all got these little?
Yeah. Is there anything abnormal about this liquid at all, or is it?
Yeah, I mean it's poison.
Nothing abnormal for poison.
So it's just regular poison.
Excellent news. So I believe they now need to make rolls to see if they succumb to said poison.
Yes.
What's the target on that one?
12.
12, cool. So you've made me have to get out another dice, which I'm a bit sad about. One of the things I love about running Borg is that in very, very rare cases does the GM ever have to actually roll. But at any point, if like at a creature or something other than a player does, they do it without adding any bonuses at all. So it's outrageously like quick and simple to do. So the first one rolled an 11. That's Cujo. Clifford rolled a 9.
Not Clifford.
Lassie rolled a 3,
no!
and Beethoven has rolled a 5. So all of them are being becoming quite unwell at this, and you can almost like see like veins on the side of their neck starting to like bulge and pulse. One of them almost like spits up, and there's just like this like blackish, like almost like reddish thing. It's hard to tell if it's like blood or if it's just even something else. How much damage are they going to take? Are there any other impacts, any other effects?
D10 damage.
Would you like?
Or
to roll?
it has the target of 12 or D10 damage.
So yeah, so if they fail to hit the 12, they will take D10 damage.
They will. Okay, cool.
So yeah, do you want to roll 4 D10s and let me know what they are separately?
I sure will. 6, 4, 7, 4.
Nice. So they are wearing armor, but armor doesn't protect you from poison. So they're at this, and at the worst time, so Kudo is kind of at the front, just like you can see like more of the stuff is like spewing out of his mouth, and like spits out, and there's almost like a chunk of tongue that sort of like comes with it at this point here.
Also, Bunter is pretending that it's happening because he was drinking his water, but he's pretending that this is happening to him too, so they don't get mad. So he's like, "Oh man, that stuff was crazy."
And yeah, at this point here, they are a little bit. Nope, they're gonna keep on going. So yeah, so they are all looking incredibly worse for wear. I do seem to remember that Theras had kind of like not stood near the main group today. What's the next step?
She was there kind of like with her cleaver at the ready, and then sees this all happening and is kind of like, do we need this? Like, is she like, are they gonna just die. But if they seem to still be clinging on to life, I think her move, she's just gonna kind of like go up behind them and just sort of like try and slit any important arteries behind each one.
Get him out
Yeah,
of there.
but her look towards Bunter is like slight admiration, like, wow, didn't know you had it in you.
You did a kill.
And he's kind of saying like to her as he's going, oh, I'm dying.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's slightly easier to hit these guys because they are currently like doubled over in pain and the like. So normally you're trying to hit a 12 with a roll on your with your strength. In this case, we'll do it against a 10, and that's just to get basically sufficient like.
Yeah, this says coward's jab when attacking by surprise. Test agility DR10. Is that?
Ooh. So
meaning
yeah, that'll
that
bring it even further down. So basically, I'm giving you like a 2-point bonus for them being messed up. So yeah, so you roll agility against an 8 instead of anything else here.
Okay, so I'm rolling a d20 and I want to hit an 8 or
8
So
or
you
an
higher.
8
or higher. Yeah.
An 8 or higher. Okay.
And you can add your agility if that is any number.
Okay, it is actually, no, my agility is flat. And I'll roll, do I roll 1 for each of the people then? Or?
I'd say you've probably got time to do it for 2 of them at this point.
Okay. So that's a 12.
Mm-hmm.
And, and a 4.
So yeah, so the like by the time that you try to like go for the second, the first one is clearly like, well, let's see if you manage to kill them though. What damage does that do?
And for rolling damage, am I just rolling? Another D4 because I have
that.
That
You got a
is
femur.
Yeah. Oh, I have a femur and a meat cleaver, so I'm assuming that I'm using the meat cleaver at this
I
point.
wonder how sharp you've made the femur otherwise.
Well, just because I'm doing it sneaky right now. That's a 4.
Awesome. So they have some armor. They do have relatively good armor, so I will give that one a roll as well. So it's 4 damage, which is then soaked by 3. So 1 point kind of gets through. You've got a choice. You could kill Lassie, who's got the flowing locks, or you could hurt Cujo, the one who's clearly in charge here. And like,
tell us which
there's clearly
classic,
some sort of
beloved
hierarchy.
American icon of an animal you want to kill.
Here's the Lassie is the one I didn't. I was like, whatever the lovely hair one, I don't want to kill him. But I think hurting Cujo makes sense because he seems to be in charge. So yeah.
Nice. So yeah, so the you like managed to like hack out a chunk of his neck. So it's not quite enough to. So it's bleeding quite heavily, but it's not quite enough to like hit a major spurting artery or something. And yeah, functionally, all hell breaks loose. So in Merkborg, the combat runs like each round initiative is rolled, and it's either the monsters or the players who go first. And it's yourselves. I've rolled a 6. So yeah, bear in mind there are 4 of these like mostly stood to attention marauders over the far side of the room. Just behind that, we've got Theris. In the center of the room are 2 very aggressive dogs. You could run across to them and just take some damage if you wanted to get close, or you can try and like dodge out of the way as you're getting past. But basically you can either get there safely or quickly, and if you get there quickly, it will probably hurt you. But yeah, you all get to go before any of those get to go. What do you want to do?
So Thorn is gonna press his femur into his to Kujon's belly,
Mm-hmm.
and like hold his mouth, like restarting a computer. Shh.
So in order to get,
I can't imagine how many computers you go through in a day.
So in order to get across to him, are you just going to ignore the dogs in the middle and just hope they don't bite you too badly?
Yeah.
Nice. So they.
If it narratively matters, I am totally still trying to engage these dogs and convince them that I am their friends.
I'd say okay. In that case, you make it easier in that you're at least distracting. So one of the dogs, his vicious but lovely bite, will deal 2 points of damage to Thorn. If you've got any armor, you can roll that and soak it as well.
Yeah. I have. So 1 is soaked.
Cool. So yeah, so you take a further point of damage as you just kind of get past, and it just like mostly like it tries to grab on, and like if you hadn't been moving, it probably would have like snapped your ankle with its bite, but instead it just gives you like just like really quite like solid.
Oh, an important thing to let everybody know, but specifically Danielle, because this actually is not clear if you don't know the rules to this game. You have a listing on your sheet for a certain number of omens, and omens let you reduce the difficulty of a damage of a roll, or re-roll, or do some other things that I can't remember off the top of my head. And they're gone, and you get them back every single day. You flip a D2 or D4 or whatever, and depending on your character class, and get more of them. But they are things that you can use as basically a meta currency through the course of the game, and you can use them on your roll or anyone's rolls. FYI.
Yeah. So yeah, they can either like force a reroll. You can like reduce the difficulty of something before you attempt it. They can count as like individual, like almost like literal plot armor at this point, and a variety of other things there as well. But yeah, so you then managed to like get right up to Cujo here at this point, like femur into his gut. What do you want to achieve? What's your goal here?
I just want to kill him.
Nice. So yeah, so he's not yet acted, so I'm going to say you've still got the like an extra like a 2 point making it slightly easier. So you'd be aiming for a 10 rather than a 12, and you want to make a strength check.
A 3?
It's quite a bit lower, and essentially just as you're like, you've got him in this position here, but he's clearly like, if this weren't someone who were quite so like well self-disciplined, it probably would have taken them out. But at this point here, he's just clearly like quite actively responsive to what it is that you're doing. Nearby, we've got Theros. What's Theros doing?
I think I'm still trying to hack at. Wait, did he finish Cujo?
Not
Did you?
quite.
No.
Oh, not quite.
Still
Then
in motion.
yeah, I think that she's making eye contact with him, like, yes, you do it, and is gonna go back in with the meat cleaver.
Nice. So this will be against a 10 rather than an 8 because he knows you're doing it now because you took a chunk of his neck out.
Yeah. And then would this be with strength or agility, or if it's just a general?
If this is a general, this would be with strength.
Okay. So that's a 14.
Nice, that hits.
Yay.
And then see how much damage you do.
Okay. Three.
Ooh. I've also rolled a 3 for the amount of damage he soaks. So this thing comes in, and just as it does, he just literally just like drops his shoulder forwards. At the same point, he's kind of like almost like uncoiling the whip, and just the cleaver just like catches between a couple of the spikes there, and just like growls at you and just like spits blood in your face. Bunther and/or Svind, what next?
I have a question.
Yes.
Or my question is, what are the mechanics when it comes to ordering monkeys to attack? Is the monkey's turn my turn? Do I get to order all monkeys at once, or one monkey per turn?
I'd say, because it's not explicitly made clear. I think it's only made clear that they, what's the wording of it? I think it's something like they fear but love you, or something similar. But they will, so you can. What's your presence?
It's flat.
Okay. So I'd say on any given turn, you can either act yourself and a monkey, or you can get all of the monkeys, and it's up to you.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go with all of the monkeys. I'm gonna like stand back a little bit, and be like, and say, Cronkus, Monkus, Tonkus, Bonkus, do your thing.
Nice.
And I'd like to, if how I don't know how much control I have over the monkeys. They do love me. One monkey per person.
Nice. And yeah, I'd say they monkeys being quite good at being monkeys are probably fairly fairly good at dodging chained up dogs, and also have like less body mass to bite onto, so they're not even going to need to try and dodge the dogs en route. But yeah, do you want to give me 4 rolls of d20?
I'm not gonna
All
lie.
right.
Grunkus, Tunkus, Dunkus, Munkus didn't register me as Monkey's name. It just was like, what is Alex saying right now?
It's an incantation. Also, I really appreciate your version of the monkey names, which I think are
was like,
entirely
I could
different
do 2
names
of these.
I don't know. I appreciate it. It's like I gained 4 more monkeys. Okay. Do the monkeys have stats? Do they get my stats?
So the monkeys add nothing to their rolls, and
Okay.
I'd say that they've probably got. I'd say they've got no hit points, but they do have a D4 armor, so any hit could kill a monkey.
According to my sheet, they have 4 hit points.
Then they have 4 hit points.
I did not mean to contradict the GM, but I was like, I think these are powerful monkeys.
More
11?
than most players. 11,
Yeah.
9.
More than me.
Natural 20.
Ooh.
That was Trunkus.
Yeah. 2 and 12.
Nice. So all but one of them hit, and Cujo is the one who is not hit in this point here. So do you want to roll some damage against everybody else?
I would love to. Okay, let me just make sure.
They do a
Rolling
D20
the right
each.
little guy.
D20 damage each.
Yeah.
Very powerful monkey.
And take over
Fuck
the
'em
world
up,
of these monkeys.
Tonkus. Ooh, 2, 3, 3,
Nice. So
4. Oh wait, no, I forgot that
the
was only
last one
3 of them.
didn't hit. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
2 is then soaked by 4. So the like at this point, one of your monkeys is kind of like got its like nails and teeth into like some of the heavily wrapped parts on Clifford's arm, kind of like failing to actually make any hurt there. Against Lassie, so there's an attack of 3 coming in, and in a moment I'm going to ask you to describe that. And then against Beethoven, 1 point of damage kind of comes through. So Beethoven is quite scratched up. Lassie's going to die with his big flowing hair and the fact that he accepted your poison.
He did willingly drink the poison.
Yeah. And he kind of looks across and is like, only a fallen religion. And he then just like spins down and like collapses on the floor whilst like the monkey is like tearing his face off. It's now their go.
You want me to role playing with the dogs?
Actually, yeah, no, I do want to see
I'm like good doggo, sweet doggo, lovely doggo. I give the other one some milk in the same way, and I'm like definitely encouraging milk consumption for these dogs.
You can see that their stress is like they're still quite stressed, but they're like all of their like signs of aggression are kind of like lowing down. There's still like they're bearing a lot of their teeth. The hackles aren't quite so raised. They're at least like notably like going down and like lapping up the milk. You're making some good dog friends here. Yeah.
That's all I'm here for. That and
the name of the game, literally.
milk PSAs. That's the other thing I'm here for.
This is all in one big got milk ad.
You just hear me whisper to the dogs at the very end, as before we cut away. You know that lactating cows can drink as much as 420 pounds of water a day?
Did you look up milk facts, or do you just know this?
No.
That's
Love the
4-H,
non-committal
baby.
shrug.
I know a lot of milk facts. I might have pulled up 15 fun milk facts also.
I should invite you to more parties, I think. So yeah, so the other ones that we've got here, so like Lassie is kind of like being torn apart on the floor. Cujo is being like beset from both sides. Is going to go and like swing in and particularly try and like because although there's not enough range to really like hit properly with the whip, he instead like balls it up and almost like uses it as like a knuckle duster and sort of thing, and tries to like hit Theras in the face. So can you give me a dodge roll on this one? So you're looking to roll against an agility. So you're rolling with agility against a difficulty of 12.
And this is me?
And that's, yes, it is.
Yes. Ooh, that was a 6.
Ooh. So like you can feel just like the full weight of like he's all of the motion in which it's almost like moving like kind of moving like a martial artist, where he's like blocks the cleaver, is then almost like using the momentum of that and like swinging down with the whip, and you can see even like the trail of it as well, and it kind of like comes down, so like the knots on it like smash across your face. That will deal 4 points of damage. Do you have any armor?
I do. I have D2 armor.
Nice.
So
roll and take odds or evens, I'd say, is the easiest.
okay, so I got a 2. So
Nice. So yeah,
is...
you'll take a further 2 points through.
So I will absorb 2 then? Okay. Or 1.
2.
Wait. 2. Awesome.
Yeah. So it's 4 damage. Your armor got rid of 2 of it, and then you take 2 further points of hits.
All right. I got 1 HP left.
Ooh.
It's kind of like Mork. That's one of the things about Mork. Like I mean, you know, not fighting is a very valid thing because you might die if you fight.
Gunther is gonna do some healing prayers for you. They don't heal you at all. They don't do anything. But he thinks he's healing you. He's saying Jesus too. Please come to this child.
I'm
the
bleeding
other
and spitting
two.
on the ground like
So
sentiments appreciated, but stab.
So yeah, so Clifford, who's kind of got like a monkey hanging off him and just like almost like hassling away at his arm, which just isn't being hurt, comes in, and he's got like more space to actually like be like using his whip, and almost like flicks it upwards, so it kind of like tries to hit you in the face as well. And Beethoven, who is genuinely being harried by this monkey, comes in, and again is just like pretty much doing the same sort of thing that Cujo did, where it's like knotted up close and essentially like using it as a I don't know, almost like a blackjack or something. So that's 2 more agility checks you're gonna need to make.
Wait, am I making these checks for my monkeys?
Yep.
No, these are attacks still against Theris.
Oh.
They are all zooming in.
Oh shoot. Oh,
Oh.
I did not realize. So I'm gonna roll twice to hit 12. Same.
So yeah, so you want 12 and higher to avoid being hit.
Let's see. Yeah, that was 2 7s.
There is still a chance. We shall see. So I will roll the damage separately, and I'm afraid this is what I've rolled.
Wow.
So even with your armor, it's unlikely to bring it down enough that you only take 1 point of damage. Do you want to describe what it looks like as you are overwhelmed essentially in this point?
Yeah.
You can use an omen
Oh, I can
to reduce d6 damage as well.
Yeah. Or you can potentially spend one to re-roll any of the other misses as well.
Yeah.
I should have done that with my initial one, probably.
How many omens do you have?
I only have 1 omen though. So if
did you say that other people can omen each other?
Anyone can omen anyone. Yeah. So
Does it have to be on your turn,
Yeah.
or can I give an omen?
Give an
Oh,
omen.
it can be at any point.
I will give my-
I will
I-
give you an additional omen.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's so sweet. So
That's what
I'll.
it
Yeah. Here's
That's
the
your
thing.
healing prayers.
The safest bet is just to negate d6 damage twice here.
Okay.
And probably the most mechanically sound thing also
Yeah.
too. Theoretically, if you wanted to force a reroll, you have to do it like in the moment of.
Yeah.
But yeah, just
so
negating both of those damages is probably the way to go.
that actually, yeah. Because that will take care of the damage then, right? Because you rolled 2 6s. So if I do that twice, Yeah, so I think some kind of weird like gutter scum luck on the first one I managed to somehow dodge, and then make eye contact with Bunter, who seems to be making probably some like intricate
praying, holding
Yeah.
a crucifix.
praying, and as I'm like spinning in another direction, she just feels like a weird sort of like, like a brief flash of like, maybe there's something to the monkey religion.
Like your hands really hurt. Like there's something about
Yeah.
almost like you just get this like real like pulsing around like your hand and your wrist region.
Yeah.
And functioning like you could almost like you could see the moment in which you would die, but then just essentially like the enemies being harried and stuff like this.
Yoinked me back.
Yeah.
So it turns out my healing prayers were helpful after all.
Yeah. The monsters go again. So each round, the initiative is rolled to see what happens. Those of them that were kind of like going over like towards Theristed almost like basically think they've succeeded. And Cujo is currently is attacking at Thorn. And so the first like his again like flails back up with his whip. He just tries to like run the butt of it right into your cheek. So yeah, if you can give me a defense, so that'd be a 12 on agility.
8.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So it will hit for a single point of damage. So if you have any armor at all, you won't be hurt.
Nope. I have armor, so light armor.
Nice. So yeah. So I mean, you can roll the d12 if you'd like. D12, the d2, if you'd like, but there genuinely is no reason to, because you will at least roll a 1. So yeah, so it's mostly like bruising and stuff, and you can feel that where the trail of the whip, like tail kind of like comes around to like it would, had you had a bare back or had you just been wearing a shirt or something, it probably would have torn at your skin. But you're instead fine, and then Cujo points over across to where Bunter is, and is like, get him. And so the other one's kind of like move up towards
little me.
I think, especially because Tony, do you want to roll the attacks for the dogs? Because they're definitely on your side now.
Sure.
And these guys are just moving through.
I'll roll some dog attacks. I also want to point out, like, I'm very combat savvy the way my character ended up rolling up, and I just love that I'm over here just like, but these dogs, look at them. And so, just rolling a d20.
Yep.
We got a 16.
Nice.
And we got an 11.
Ooh. They would not have been expecting this at all. I was saying the dogs are attacking at 10s. So roll me 2d6 and let me know what they are separately.
A 6 and a 2.
Ooh. So Beethoven is like moving across the dog. Like this is the first point where the dog like surges up, and you can see him just like snapping, snapping his jaws, but then just like almost like using the full weight of his paw to like smash up and break Beethoven's neck, and then just like collapses to the floor. Clifford, as he's kind of like moving towards the dog, like jumps up and again just like grabs onto his arm. And where there's just all of this sort of like bound padding, he's just kind of like still moving forward. There's monkey on one side, he's got like dog on the other side, both of which hurt. And it's like he's just not hurt by this at all. You can still see some like thin reddish fluid.
They call him the big red dog.
Yeah. But 2 of them are down. And then Bunter is going to need to make a defense against Clifford. So you're rolling a agility versus 12.
That's 18.
Ooh, whoa. Very nice.
So yeah,
so the whip kind of like stretches out quite quickly, but in such a way that you're able to see enough of the whole like of the motion to just not be in the place where it's going to hit. And it's all of your turns. What do you want to do?
A little kiss at the cross and say, "Thank you, buddy." They're looking out for me.
now that the dogs have started attacking, I'm like, oh, there's fighting happening. I am gonna use oh man, I've got so many good options. I'm gonna use my bow, and I'm gonna pull it out, and shoot someone. Does Mork have any sort of like attacking?
Probably an enemy.
Attacking into melee restrictions?
No,
I didn't think so.
That would be additional rules.
Yeah, I bet I couldn't recall one off the top of my head. I just want to make sure. Yeah, then whichever one the dog and the monkey are holding down, is that Clifford who's just like resisting? That's who I'm taking a shot at.
Nice.
And that is a 18.
Fantastic. And so obviously with that, then roll for damage.
That is a 5.
Ooh. He rolled a 3, so that's like as the again, it's like it's at the point where he's almost like being like he's seeing that you're kind of like doing this and like raises his hand up to kind of like try to block it almost, or at least to kind of get in the way. And at that point, the monkey just drops, but the arrow just goes like straight through the part where it kind of like been there, and you can just see this like arrow shaft poking out of his arm.
Classic me and the monkey named what are their names end with?
They all end in onkus.
Me and Bajonkus, that's what we always get up to.
Fantastic. So he's kind of got this this arrow in his arm. What's everybody else doing?
Let's try again and stab somebody.
So you're wanting to make a strength check against the 12.
Cujo is still up.
4.
9.
What is are you attacking with the femur?
Yeah, I am.
What's it looking like? Is it that you can't find an opening and so you're just like not trying it? Is it that you're like trying it and he's just blocking it? Is it that you're hitting him but he's just not noticing? Or what does that look like?
It's probably the slime in the throat that's kind of distracting him. Is trying, but he's gagging.
Yeah, almost like right in the middle of like a war cry, and just like
yeah, he's tears in his eyes, and
as you like feel that real lump in your throat.
Yeah.
Excellent. There is, you're kind of like on the floor, and like Cujo at this point is functionally stood. I mean, he's got like one of his feet pretty much like on your shoulder. Like it's painful, but it's not holding you down. He's just standing on a body, is what he thinks.
So if he thinks he's standing on a body, I can take my meat cleaver and go stab into his thigh without him realizing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I like that.
So that'll be against 10, and you get to roll with agility on this one.
Yes.
Sneak attack.
That was a 2.
You're rolling D20s on this, right? Like you're rolling, you got a D20 there. All right.
I am rolling a D20.
Oh.
Good Lord. I was like, I should use my action to run away.
I mean, you still can, like, as you kind of like not throw it, but like swing the cleaver up. He like realizes enough with that, and actually almost like steps over the arc of your blade.
Well, I was going to say, I'm going to spend one of my omens to let you reroll.
Oh no. You're really? Oh man, no, you gotta somebody feel terrible. It's because someone else needs a defense, but okay. I will I will use it.
Oh, you're our
all right.
What's the word? Our hitter, our stabber.
I love
yeah.
You're the knife.
Yes. With all of my battle.
Gotta back you up.
D4 damage. I love it. Okay. You're not going to believe this. It was a 2 again with a different D20.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, the blood was running down her face and she's so angry and sweaty that it's just like getting in her eyes. So she can't see it, but she does. I think she sees Svind like working with the dogs and is like, at least swings again.
You know what the problem is here. You didn't have enough milk today. I want to You don't have the strength you need
Yeah, that's
to get up
Not enough calcium.
that's it.
and
Yeah.
roll well
Bone.
because you don't have that.
Yeah, I've been
After all, the
drinking.
most recent killing roll, or the most recent killing blow, did come from someone who has just finished drinking some milk.
It's true.
So
I'm just saying. I'm pointing out a pattern. That's all I'm doing.
Been drinking tea
you
full
can
of
still move
water
away
like
as
the
well.
loser. Okay.
So yeah, so like as you move, like he's basically steps off of you and out of the way of the thing, and then just like kind of like reshifts his placement again, and you're able to like get up and out. The dogs are no longer threatening to yourselves.
Okay.
Thanks to Sven's tender offerings, they essentially have recognised that you're on their side.
We're the
Because
good
you've not hurt
guy.
them at all. Yeah.
Well, which is really what's going on here. Like the dogs really aren't on our side. We're on their side. We're like,
The
no,
dogs.
we've come to join your war band.
Yeah, we're
Please
here
help
for
us.
the dogs.
Yeah.
Excellent. I believe we haven't had anything from Bunta yet. What's
We sure haven't. So to clarify, there's 2 people standing now, right?
So you've got Cujo, who's kind of at the back of the room, and is mostly just like fighting with Thorn, like dodging out of the way of the other thing. You've got Clifford, who's kind of like stood in the middle, had been like whipping at yourself, has now just got like an arrow shaft
Right.
sticking out of his forearm.
And is it possible to do non-lethal damage with the monkey?
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay. I just if I can, I just don't want to kill Clifford. It would just feel so wrong. But who knows? We'll see what the monkeys do. So we're gonna do 2 monkeys for each.
Nice. So yeah, so give me some rolls.
The monkey rolls. All right, 5. That monkey's not going anywhere. 6. These are some unlucky monkeys. 4. Goddamn. Come on, Tonkus. Come on, Tonkus. 9.
Ooh. So yeah, so like Cujo is entirely like he's moving like water. He's just like dodging out of the way of these things. He's like trailing his whip in such a way that almost like when the monkeys grab on, actually it's the trailing bits of fabric and so on that it's hit. Whereas Clifford essentially is just like batting them away as they're kind of like coming up close. So rather than like moving out of the way, just like knocking them aside. And yeah, it is a new round. I rolled a 1, so it's the bad guys.
Ooh.
Who, and you can see them almost like stiffen up a little bit, and like although Cujo like shoves at Thorn to kind of like push him back out of the way, and then Clifford like just kind of like moves directly backwards, standing where it was, and you can see that they're both like looking straight down the corridor behind you, and like with almost like the horns just kind of like not quite scraping at the roof of like the cob as he's kind of like walking along. You can just see this like huge guy. If you imagine that Jason Momoa had like the head of a goat, that's kind of what you see. And it's like all of these like spikes, like spiked armor in just like implausible places. He's got some like right on the front, and you can't even see necessarily like how it's attached. Like maybe it's like been like riveted in or something to the skin. And he's just kind of like coming forward, and it's actually when he gets closer, you can see that it's just like a full whole head like goat mask, which is quite partially made out of like a skull that's just been cracked and pushed forwards. And he just kind of like walks into the room. He's just got this huge cat of 9 tails with like barbs right on the end of it, and just like looks in, sees what it is that's happened there, and you can see behind him, and he's holding it on like a very, very like short chain, is another dog that looks like it probably had like it's got better musculature than the ones that you're seeing here. It's clearly like had a lot of expensive food, and
Is this
tell you
murder?
it is. It's got a little like collar around with like the word murder just hanging down from it.
All right, there we
You
go.
can just see him standing there, and he's like holding this like really, really like quite tight. It's probably almost like only half his forearm again. yeah, what's all your reactions as this guy just like walks right up to part of the room where you're at?
Oh no.
That's probably Lawrence's reaction.
Hello, sir. I see that you are beginning a business enterprise here, and I can't help but notice that the best way to start a business enterprise is with the patronage of a new god. Have you considered opening your heart to Jesus too?
And you can see, like, although you can't see him looking at you because there's no way through the mask that you can see where his eyes are, you can like see that he like tilts his head and looks in your direction. And then just like turns, like the head kind of like still almost like stays looking at you, then just like turns the rest of his body away and just like keeps like walking through into this room.
Okay, we'll just think about it.
He didn't even make a sound. And the other two kind of like move up, and like this is the first time that you've seen Cujo almost like being cowed in someone else's presence. And almost like the three of them like move together towards like the center of the room. What's everyone else doing?
Go ahead.
Thorn is helping his sister up from the floor and wiping off the blood from her face, and yeah.
She's like, thanks, don't worry. We got stuff. You stay safe.
I say, Ham Fund, I need inspiration, and hold out my hand.
It is delivered to you.
And I pull out.
What's that look like? Yeah.
Yeah, like we hear like a shinging, and like we see light erupt from nowhere right above this wretched and despicable royal figure with nose that's been picked to the point of bleeding. As we hear like that classic like shing noise, and I pull Eureka out of its sheath and attack a Gottfried.
Nice.
I'm just kind of, since Gottfried has walked past me now, I imagine I'm kind of close to the door that he came in through. Since I'm attacking with my monkeys, I'm just kind of inching like towards the door just in case things go bad. Like I can get out of here. I'm also kind of blocking the exit for anyone else.
After all, Gunther is not a small man, and so taking up most of the door as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So could I get an attack roll from Svind then? And tell us what's special about Eureka.
It does a whole lot of damage. Let's see. Let's read the actual text. So Eureka is actually part of Ham Fund. So the Ham Fund is under Ham Fund the Squire. The intensely cowardly servant acts only as the guardian for the scabbard of the cursed sword Eureka. Once per combat, if Ham can be found, Eureka may be drawn. The sword does 2d6 damage, and for every swing of Eureka, roll a d6. On a 1, the Squire is slain, and Eureka vanishes forever. So I'm gonna I rolled a 15.
Nice.
This is strength, so +1, so 16. I did not roll a 1 on my d6, so I will not accidentally slam Ham Fund, but I do.
As funny as that would be,
I do 8 damage.
Oof. So 3 of that is soaked up by like where are you trying to hit? Like, are you trying to like hit him in like the midriff? Are you trying to like go for like the head?
I think this is like slashing motions. Like I think even though it doesn't require it, I think each like they only count as one hit, but they come so swiftly that it's like just slashes. Like you only see the very video game after effect of like the slashed white line for a second across their chest as Eureka cuts through the air.
Amazing.
And it whistles, whistling right next to Ham Fun's head also too.
So you can see these like gashes just like opening up on his chest. There's a few parts where you've like bent the actual like metals of the spikes as well. So anybody else gets a chance to go for these 3 if they want. For the purposes of sneaking, the 2 the 2 lesser marauders are too much like focused on like following command. So if you wanted to be sneaky, you could.
I'm gonna go all 4 monkeys at Gottfried.
Nice. Give me 4 rolls.
4 monkey rolls. Hopefully better than last time. 7. Okay, I'm not gonna count. It fell on the floor. Does that kill me?
It doesn't kill you if it falls on the floor.
Okay.
But
That's a different game.
I'm getting my games confused. 9. God damn it.
Oh no.
Come on, Bonkus. 12.
it's a hit.
And 17.
Yeah.
Boom. So 2 hits. So yeah, so roll
2 successful monkeys.
2 damages.
All right. Bonkus does 4.
Nice.
Nice.
And Tonkus is the wild card. Also does 4.
Oh, amazing. So yeah, so you can see this like, and the 2 that missed were kind of almost like trying to like go in and were just like really struggling to get past like the spikes on this guy's armor. The other 2 had gotten up to the parts where Eureka had started making some attacks and were just like jamming their thumbs like right deep inside the kind of like gashes there and almost like trying to pull apart his skin. He's like, you can see that his body is like flinching in response to it in the sense like he's clearly having like nerve reactions to when there's kind of like thing there, but he's very much like not showing any pain whatsoever. And like, it's almost like what you'd expect in like the first, I don't know, like 30 seconds of like a gladiatorial combat, that level of just like visceral gore. Excellent. What about our twins?
Thorn is gonna stab him with the femur. Try at least.
I wonder, like, before you do that, I was wondering if I could just do a stealthy check to go in and see if I could cut the things holding his armor on, to see if I could just kind of get in there and make some of that come off. Just very like cut the strings on the dress. And
so I'd say because you're normally good at doing stealth things against a 10, I'd say that would also be an agility against a 10. And if you hit,
okay,
you can.
Yeah.
But
It
if you miss,
says
then that's taking your actions.
I have a stealthy. All presence and agility tests have their DR reduced by 2. So yeah, normal tests are DR 10 instead of. That's exactly what you said. Okay, so I'm gonna just try and kind of like get in and get out, but also if I'm up there and I'm stuck there, that makes sense.
So yeah, so give us a roll.
That's a 19.
Hey, awesome.
Finally.
So yeah, so you come up and you're able to like basically, what does it look like? It's essentially, it's not going to remove all of his armor because he's got like some of it up on his shoulders and things, but
yeah,
what's it look like?
I think she just takes a glance at Thorn, who is preparing with his femur, and just kind of like coughs blood off to one side and runs up and like uses the meat cleaver to like snip the leather holdings, like this massive person up in front. This is like right behind. She's used to cutting things on purses, on things attached to people. So like leather cords, or just, she just gets right in there.
Nice. And yeah, there's
This
like
is child's play.
like something that just like falls to the floor and just like bounces off and almost like scrapes some of the fur off of one of the monkeys. It's not injured, but it's not happy. Yeah, what about Thorn? There's less armor now.
Yeah, he rolled a 19 as well.
Nice.
So he's coming stabby. And he rolled a 3 damage.
Awesome. So I took 2 points of that. And so at this point you can see like because at the point where the armor mostly falls from like basically like upper stomach region, and you like smash it right, and then you can feel as you're almost like winding him slightly. He almost like leans over and staggers forwards at least a little bit. And you can hear him actually like speak for the first time. He's like, "Damn you." and then tries to like grab your head with one hand and like almost like spin the like the barbed whip around and just like pull it like a ripcord sort of thing to try and hurt you. So yeah, will you roll a defense against that? So it's a 12 you're looking for in agility.
5.
It's a bit painful here.
It's a
And
bit
I also
painful,
feel-
yeah.
Of course, for those of you who have forgotten, Stein is the guy who wrote this, so
Yeah.
knows that he's about to take D8 damage, and then any that continues past the armor will go. That was cocked. So that's 7 damage. So roll for some armor.
Oh no.
I am soak 2. So
Nice. That's an overrun of
but
5 and an extra D4, so that's actually an overrun of 7.
Oh no. Can I just, because that's more than your HP, right?
yeah, I'm gonna spend an omen.
Oh,
Nice.
right.
So yeah, so you can reduce
Yeah.
that by a further D6.
Yeah. 4. So
Nice.
what was the
So, yeah, so
total?
you'll be taking 3 in the end.
3 is. Can I do another omen?
If you've got more, definitely.
Yeah.
You can
do
just
another one. 2.
Nice. So yes, it's a total of 1 gets through here, and like this would have been like if it were made of cheese wire, it would have cut you in half, sort of thing. This motion. But what does it like? What does it look like? There's probably something about just how like filth matted that you are that's probably protecting you in a certain sense from this. But what does your near death?
bile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lubricated by my own vomits.
All greased up.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
The other 2 clearly seeing for who is to be attacked go for you as well. They're kind of like trying to keep a certain amount of distance and like trying to like whip at you with almost like with the main like belly of the actual whip itself. So if you want to give me 2 more defense rolls there, Thorn.
Okay, let's go. 6 failed.
Who wrote this lethal
5 failed.
adventure?
What the fuck?
Yeah, where did this come from?
Can I
Yeah.
like, can Theras throw herself in front and just absorb the damage instead?
I'd say I will say we've got an option. Yeah, you can make an agility roll against a 10. If it passes, you can take all of it. If it fails, you each take half.
Which could be
Okay.
poetically beautiful.
Yeah,
it
it could.
would.
It could. Yeah.
You came into this world together just a scant 26 years apart. You live this world together.
Like twins, it's all about who's your mother, and we both have
Yeah.
the same mother.
it's all about that.
This is
Yeah.
all our mother left us.
Okay, I got a 16.
Nice. So in total, that's going to be, so one of the attacks is going to hit for 6 and the other will hit for 7. So you can block them both. Your armor, if you have any, does apply as well.
Yeah. So
I'm-
my 2 armor with my 1 HP.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I think she just sees them going for Thorn, and they don't have many values. She doesn't have many values, but like protecting Thorn is pretty much the only one that she's got. So she's like, no, not these dogs, like meaning it as a slur against these bad people, like not you're lovely creatures, and like leaps in front of Thorn and just I think gets wrapped on both sides, and she's like, don't fall into the sky, I think is the last thing she says to Thorn before getting probably just like lacerated to smithereens.
And yeah, in a new round, it is yourselves. What happens? Who goes first?
I'm gonna press my advantage on what's his face and who's in how's it. The bad guy, the Gottfried.
Nice.
It's gonna be a 15.
That will hit.
I whiff incredibly close to Ham Fun when when I swing, but I do not actually hit them. And that's going to be 11 damage.
Whew. So he does soak 2 of that, but that is still going to bring him right into the negatives. So what's that look like as he dies?
You know, I slash a couple like again, and then I like actually ram forward and like slam into his chest, and then I lean in close to his ear, his goat ear, because that's all I can see, and I just whisper, "Goat milk."
And yeah, it's like the sword kind of like slams home, and then like staggers backwards, like releasing his hold on murder, and then just kind of like smashes back against the floor, and then just you can see that there's a lever nearby. Is he just kind of like just going to like reach out for that, and he just kind of like grabs it and just like slams this thing over. And you can hear this like massive sound of thunder throughout this entire room. And back down the corridor, you can see that there's almost like a grate on one of the sides there, and it's just like a load of like significant electrocution kind of like perking out of that gate. And
No, what? No, and what? What a cliffhanger!
John, what's happened?
He's praying.
He's praying.
Jesus too.
Jesus too.
Now.
I swear, connection difficulties have such a poetic sense of irony.
Yeah.
Always.
What a cliffhanger!
Wow. Maybe the writer of the adventure can tell us what is there a kill switch?
I don't know.
Are we about to just get eaten by dogs, so that's the end?
That's the end.
I'm gonna guess we had a computer issue.
Yeah,
We'll give him a couple of seconds to write the rain, but I did get a good screen cap. I'm gonna drop in our community Discord server there, so everybody knows exactly how. Oh, he bopped out. All right. We are gonna take let's just take a short little break while we try to get this figured out. We're playing Kennels of Karnage. We just lost our GM as thunder was erupting all around us. We will be back in 2 shakes just as soon as we figure out what's going on. as the thunder erupting through the place causes a computer to completely short out, and we switch to a different device. We hand things back over to Sean Smith.
So yeah, so back as this happens, you can see. So there's like the room is just filled with the sound of thunder, and you can see back down the corridor. There's a grate up in the ceiling that's just sparking with electricity as it's starting to like move slowly downwards. So murder is currently free. It will take at least some energy and effort to release the other dogs, but and also having seen their leader go down, the other two are just, I mean, they are very hierarchical, and you've literally just beat their alpha. They're functionally yours now, in a way, in that they will follow you.
Oh boy, do I have something to tell them?
But yeah, so you've essentially each got like one thing you can do before the next bad thing happens. So what do you do?
Danielle, do you want to just hit the Scumbirther again and then be Cujo?
Yeah, I don't think I want to be the bad person.
Or whatever. I mean, you can repent.
But is he gonna be on our side now?
We can line all the things that happened to you in the past. Yeah. And so you could also be the other one who's still alive, who wasn't as horrible and didn't kill your character.
Yeah, that's but yeah, I think that seeing the thunder and the strange stuff, the growling is like, I'm not being paid enough for this.
I say yip yip to get all the dogs to run towards the exit. That's the classic when you want an animal to do what you want thing. You say it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to our two guys to just ensure that they're, that they're on our team now, and say, listen, I know that you are following this big guy, and we kind of, group effort, me and my monkeys, and also my friend over here. We took him down, so I got a new big guy for you to follow. His name is Jesus 2. And this guy, he's dead, but he's a great guy. And I'm just saying, pulls out the crucifix and is like, good guy to follow. Good guy to follow. Look at me. You want to look like this? You want to have 4 monkeys? Come on, join us. We're going to save these dogs. And then you can come to the cathedral. It's a great time. We have a potluck lunch on Thursdays.
Yeah, they're kind of you confused, but very proud, like very pleased to have been given like direct guidance. And they're like, yeah. And then like the sound of this like thundering is getting louder. The whole of the like the grate is just like smashed all the way back into the wall now. And then there's just like almost like the sound of just like something like wet falling from quite a height onto like very, very like dry floor. And then you can see this, it's like, it is a corpse, it's entirely like covered in just like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rivets, just like bolstered into its body all at this point here. And it like, there's just these like crackles of like blue, just like energy arcing across in front of it as it like rushes in to yourselves. And I think for expediency's sake, rather than going into hello, we're in new combat now with a very, very fast thing, I think we should probably make a narrative decision as to who is going to try and handle this. What's going to almost like if this part kind of like goes into like montage mode, what's the I think possibly fast thing.
I do think the most satisfying thing is for Thorn to be overwhelmed by the death of their sibling and go buck wild on whatever this thing is.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
I like that.
So Thorn is just gripping him, holding him. Run!
And you can see your skin, like you can smell it as well before you can even feel it, where it's just like the edges of it just like bursting open at this like crackling electric energy, and you've been able to like take apart the like
block off where the chains with the dogs are, and you can hear like more of these grates all the way through this network, just kind of like going like clong, and then a wet sound as another one just kind of comes through. And yeah, essentially like the next shot we see is from quite far away from outside of the outside of the barrow itself, as those of you who are kind of like left with these dogs just like running at your heels, just like running out towards the camera, which is where the credits would roll. So in the sense of a like the post credit scene, like after we've kind of gone through and we've seen like writing, Stein, etc. We then also see like a short epilogue where you're back in the realm of the Grand Duke Death or Diath, and he's kind of like still sat there looking down on you from atop his bookshelves, but the plush cushion has been brought up and actually like even raised off of the ground there. It's almost like sat on a thing. He's just like constantly got his hand on murder. And yeah, let's begin. Well, we'll begin with the people in the room, and then also we'll go to the others to give an epilogue from their perspective, which doesn't have to be from where your body is, but can be from anything further. So let's start off. What's Finn's epilogue at this point here?
You know, I think we see like we see Finn, like we come in tight on him, and there's like a martini glass in hand that they're like swirling around, and it's this this, you know, very light with like a light pink hue in it, like glass of milk. I'm trying to think of what's sticking out of this milk that makes it very slightly more martini-esque, and nothing seems like a good idea. And so, you know, swirling it around as we zoom out, and there are these people just stacking crates and crates of milk all around him in this like storefront, like all these liberated, dog-minded, previous goons are stacking crates. And all of a sudden, like one of the and he's just like smiling with like brighter than we've seen in a long time, this horrible rictus of a smile. And then like we see as we zoom out, like we see the slam down of one last crate, and it like we cut in and it just says Gottfried's protein enhanced goat milk.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
What about Gunther?
So I think this little clip is gonna be in the cathedral, which it turns out is actually just like literally a hole in the ground. It is in the gutter, in no way cathedral, and they've got their like their holy books, and they're having their Thursday potluck lunch, and welcoming in a few new members to the faith of Jesus too, because Diath has spread the word a little without converting himself, spread the word a little, and Bunter is now being carried by 4 monkeys, Kronkus, Bonkus, Tonkus, and Bonkus, as well as Cujo and Clifford. And it's kind of like petting Clifford, and we're like, oh, you really are a big red dog.
Excellent news. So Danielle, pick whatever perspective you want, and it could either be like something potentially from like the absence of Theres, or it can even be at any other perspective.
I think that, and you can stop me if this feels off, I think that maybe during one of the services or whatever Bunter has is like a, you know, maybe he has a little meditation time, a little prayer time. I don't think he would think of it as a beatific vision, because it's not really beatific, but he gets a little glimpse of something, and he's like, ah, yes, Jesus too is there, you know, who's just the one guy. And I think that in the side vision, there's a very surly, dirty child who keeps nagging to him like, you could really fix this place up some more, and like keeps running around and like pointing at things, and you're just like, I must be, I hit that enhanced protein milk. I tried it. I know. you kind of think
I gotta get off that goat milk.
I gotta get off the
Doing
goat
weird
milk.
things.
Yeah, but I think that some combination of that little like healing prayer that you did, I think that Theris is somehow in a little like in a not ideal place, but just a little scrap place of her own.
So
Amazing.
Moon just maybe got a little bit of access to her in the spirit world forever.
Yeah.
A little bit of a ghost buddy situation.
Yeah. I think we'll always like, there will be always like a little dirty corner that you can't quite like clean in the corner. And whether or not Thorn is there is up to him as well too.
Yeah, so I'd say like Thorn. What's the epilogue we see for Thorn?
The last thing you see from Thorn is him holding the creature firmly and saying, "I don't feel so good," and then just
and he finally vomits out that chunk
Yeah,
right
yeah,
at the screen
right.
as the credits roll.
on the camera.
Fun. Yeah. That's when we go to black.
Yeah.
Amazing, and yeah, these have been the Kennels of Carnage,
Awesome.
a Mork Borg production. So thank you all very much for being the victim.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
now it is time for something we do here on the stream called Reaction Roll. Reaction Roll is a live stream. Within this live stream, it's our chance to sit down with the creator of a game or adventure that we just played and talk to them about that adventure. Today, we are sitting down and talking about Kennels of Carnage. It's a third-party Mork Borg compatible system that is live right now on Kickstarter. We just finished playing it. And we've got Stein with us to talk a little bit about the adventure. So Stein, tell us a little bit about Kennels of Carnage.
Well, it's a short adventure about saving lost dog, like the description, but it has some twists and it has some random events and basically a lot of things that we didn't go through today because we didn't have the time. But it's more about the thematical of animals and being the hero in a bleak world. Being always the guy after money or doing bad things. It's like playing Mass Effect, really. I'm gonna be the bad guy now, and you always pick the. I can't do that to that guy. It's yeah. It's like the theme of that, and kind of runs on the human emotion because everybody loves animals, and it kind of affects the person's playing it. I'm hoping at least, and yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I had a blast playing, but I want to hear what everybody else said. Let's start with the person who ran our game, and that's Sean F. Smith. Sean, tell people who you are, what you do, but also what it was like to run Kennels of Carnage, since you've actually got a chance to peek behind the curtain to this adventure.
Yeah. So yes, I'm Sean Smith, a writer, magician, games designer. All around. If I try and make you feel uncomfortable, that's probably what I'm being paid for, at least at some point. So I really enjoyed running the module here. It's nice to have a like very strongly framed and hard focused dungeon encounter that has a reason for it to actually be a dungeon that you're then going to explore. And so like there was a point earlier where because you had an escort, you managed to get past a trap that would have been very poor. And so there's just like the whole thing actually makes sense as a physical environment, which is fairly rare in the field to some extent. And the content that we've got, and actually I'm quite sad that we had like such a relatively short time to play through it, because like I could imagine like taking it really like nice slow pace, almost like running, and it's quite a small dungeon. There's 10 rooms, there's various like exciting things that take place as you're heading down the corridors, but it would be really lovely as like playing out over like 12 hours or something with just like no rush and just seeing and enjoying all the space within it. And I think in like in fitting like Merc Borg style. There's just some like snippets of like thoroughly enjoyable bits of writing in there, such as like on the bookshelves, especially like when you pick up one of the books and it like falls apart like your bastard of a father did, and just things like that just like really stand out, and it's enjoyable to read and also just like really easy to play. Like I read it through maybe once or twice before running it today, but otherwise it was largely just books open. I've got them like, okay, it was digitally, but I've functionally got one thumb on the map, the other thumb on the other parts, and just jumping between. And so it's like a well-produced, nice little module with a really strong theme. And so I thought that's lovely to have done. So well done, Stein. I thought it was cracking stuff, and I really enjoyed playing it.
Do you have any?
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for Stein?
It's a bit of a tangent, but I do. I'm quite a fan of like weird folklore, and my favourite ever like piece of folklore is the Black Shuck, which is a massive demon dog with like the size of a calf, huge glowing red eyes for saucers. Do you have a favourite dog in popular culture, whether that's media, folklore, or other? And actually, has that then influenced the way in which you produced Murder? For those of you who didn't watch the earlier stream, Murder is the name of the dog that we went to rescue.
Well, Murder is actually inspired by a dog that we were babysitting a while. It was a Chihuahua, a naked, tiny Chihuahua. And I'm sorry to say this, but he had this really nasty asshole. It was like protruding out. And he was just nasty and horrible. So I made Murder like that, more or less. But he kind of fell in love with the creature anyways. It was it's based on that. But yeah, I have actually read the legend about Black Shuck, and he's in the game. He's one of the events, more or less, or at least hinting to it.
I had hoped, but I have a tendency of projecting too many of my like favorite bits of myth onto things that other people have written. It's like, oh my god, I love the reference you made to that. Like that was random.
I don't know what you're talking about, and so no, love it. Awesome, Danielle. This is your first time playing Mork Borg. Tell people what your experience was like and who you are.
Hi, I'm Danielle. I'm just sort of an RPG enthusiast. I like playing games, and you can find me at Built a House on Twitter. And not an architect. I don't build houses. It's just my last name. And I had a lot of fun playing it. It's such like got that grim, dark tone, but I was surprised to see all of the humor that can get rolled into that as well. Like I've played Troika before, and this seemed adjacent to that, but also like gross and dark. But I really liked the theme of it. Like we did have such a intense theme, and it was really interesting. It felt like usually if I think of like, oh, we're gonna go on a dungeon, we're gonna go in and go grab the thing and kind of go out, but this really felt, and not just because like my character did die, but like it really did feel like at any point like, oh shoot, this could just all go terribly wrong and we could not succeed at the goal that is here, and like how sad and tragic but also like very realistic that would be for like a random bunch of people showing up and storming a place that they have not really seen before, and that probably wouldn't go well, in real life if you did that. So I enjoyed the lethality of that, and I guess that's kind of my question too, is like for adventure that has so much about like these, saving animals and things like that, how did the idea that like it might not go well factor into how you wrote it? Like, is there kind of designed like if you all just die, or like if you're not able to save all the dogs or murder, is that kind of part of the message of it? Or
Yeah, the message is kind of like you can't save them all. Yeah, but you might grab one dog, but you can't save them all. That's just how it is, really, and that's like the message of it.
Okay, so that really is part of it. That is.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Next, one of our most Mork-Borgiest players. When I think Mork-Borg, I think Alex. Alex, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online, and what it was like to play Kennels of Karnage.
I do. I love a good disgusting game. I like to get nasty. My name is Alex Kingsley, and I'm a writer, comedian, game designer, all those fun things. I work at a production company called Strong Branch Productions, and you can find me online at AlexyQuest. That's like Galaxy Quest the movie, but it's my name on Twitter, TikTok, Tumblr, Itch, all those places. Yeah, I get so much fun with this. I really like Danielle said, I really like the fact that there was this constant sense of like, yeah, we could just die right now. Like this, it could just all be over here and it would still be like a satisfying and fun game. Like the sense of actual peril was really, really cool. And also this sense of that there was so much that we could explore and could do that we did it. It felt like very rich and very full. And that leads into one of the questions that I have, or my biggest question, which is, what is your favorite thing that we didn't encounter today that is in the world?
Oh, I think the favorite thing is if you are a skinwalker or somebody that can talk with animals, you can encounter a quiet war between mice and rats. And you have to side with one of them. And if you help the rats, you get some kind of reward. And if you help the mice, you get some other kind of reward.
But
and,
which one will you milk? That's the real
yeah.
question.
Yeah. Who will you milk? And yeah. That's probably my favorite. It's a little goofy and it's kind of fits with the Mork-Borg style. Yeah, I enjoy that.
That's the other thing I really liked about this particular adventure is how kind of silly it was while simultaneously being so dark. Like it was around this very wholesome idea of saving dogs, which is very sweet, but it didn't lose any of that. We still got some of those good skin tearing sounds in. Like we still got to get gross. But it still got to be silly and still got to be wholesome. And that combination, that's also just my taste. I just love things that are like horrific and also really funny combined. So this was me core is what I'm saying. So I appreciate that.
You know what's also wholesome, horrific, and fun? A nice glass of milk. So if you stop to think about what milk is and how we get it, it's horrific. But it's also, classic wholesome, vibes, and it's a little bit fun. Just drink a glass of, full fat milk. Do a body good. I had a blast. Anybody if this is the only stream you ever watch, I am not actually a milk obsessed individual. It's never come up on stream before. It was a dumb thing I said at the beginning that then and so this is one of my favorite things about Mork-Borg, OSR in general, but also just the ability to be like, I said a dumb thing at the start of this, and that's the thing now. We're going to keep on going on that route and carrying it through and letting that just kind of draw narrative. Because, there was very little reality that I was ever going to milk one of those dogs. But I was like, milk, because I just wasn't going to. Milk can come into play in numerous ways in this thing, and that'll be fun to explore. And running a weird blood milk empire at the end seems fun. Yeah, it was interesting. Like Mork-Borg, we always have we always do safety conversations, all do stuff like that. It was interesting to say, hey, we're going to inject a hopeful quality into this and like a helpful, brighter theme into Mork-Borg. And then all of a sudden, being aware that actually creates a type of tension in play as a player that doesn't normally exist in Mork-Borg. You're usually, when you're talking through what might bother people, you're just looking for some body horror stuff. There's none of the okay, how do we feel about animals and animals getting hurt? And the fact that some of these animals are aggressive and you're gonna have to defend yourself against them and what that might all those different pieces create a tension that doesn't exist when you don't have any sort of noble intent or clear evil and to act against. And that's a really interesting thing to see happen in the Mork-Borg space. I don't know any other adventure that's ever made me feel as hesitant in a good way to play. Does that make sense? or how the play might unfold. Like I wasn't worried about that it was going to be objectionable or anything else like that, but just like it created a really interesting player tension that's then fun to kind of translate to character. But yeah, I thought it was an absolute blast. It was also the first time I've ever played a Merc Borg one where substantive social interactions did seem to matter. Lots of times in Merc Borg, you might have like a faction or two you're playing against each other. But like the war against the mice and the rats that you were mentioning, like the ability to like walk in and just like talk to these guards and then walk past these horrible traps and stuff and go right to the like essentially one of the main encounters. That's the kind of stuff that oftentimes you don't see in a Merc Borg adventure, but a lot of times I feel like players want to try that stuff because they understand the lethality of the system. So having an adventure that kind of engages in that mode of play a little bit more was really, really refreshing and super enjoyable to see happening. And so I just really enjoyed a lot of it. I'd really encourage people, if you want to go down right below Stein's face, there is a link to the Kickstarter. Also, it's in the link in descriptions if you're watching this later. But Stein, you funded the Kickstarter. How much longer do you have on the project?
I think it's 19 days or 20 days left.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've got a couple more weeks to go out and back this. Even if you can't back it, back at any level you can, back it for $1. It helps other people discover the project. Backers, the creators always support the $1. I mean, you should support it at a level to get it. But if you just want to help get the word out about it, backing it at $1 is a great thing to do. And if you can't do that right now, just sharing it online, sharing it on social media, letting people know about the project is a great way to help spread the word. So you can go to ttrpg.link /kennelsKS in order to go directly to it, or there's the link down in the description also too. But until next time, we're just going to wave at the screen until I take us off air. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Where's my mouse? Here it is.